Generational trauma is a difficult conversation to talk about because this isn't trauma that's being maliciously inflicted. And a lot of the times when it occurs, people don't even realize that they're doing it and they don't want to do that to their kids. And a lot of the times it's innocuous. Like, here's a small scale example, but I'll explain how it builds up. It's a bit of a joke on my dad's side of the family that none of the men know how to smile, with that originating with my grandfather, who never really smiled much. And I later learned as an adult that my grandfather struggled with depression. Nobody told me this as a kid. And so even though I would say that my dad has done a really good job of being friendly and being funny and smiling when he can, his smiles are really awkward, and mine are really bad too, because he learned how to smile from his father who never smiled, and my dad's smiles are really awkward, and I learned how to smile from him. And so while that generational trauma didn't necessarily get worse, we do know through a lot of studies in science that smiling does make people feel better. It can literally make you happier. And so if in my family there is a genetic component to the depression that my grandfather had, it would have been helpful for us to engage in behaviors that would have led us away from developing that depression further. And so this is nobody's fault. Nobody was actively doing this, and nobody even realized this is occurring. And this is a really small scale example of what I'm talking about. And I think that for the most part, most boomers and Gen Xers have done a really, really good job of breaking down the things that caused them barriers in their emotional developmental growth when they were growing up. The problem is that because their parents weren't open with them, because their parents didn't provide them with the tools that they needed, they were learning as they went. And so for a lot of people who are millennials and Gen Zers, we grew up with parents who didn't have parents who taught them those things. So our parents were learning off the cuff and doing their best. And a lot of millennials and Gen Zers have access to therapy and are utilizing that, which is a great thing. So hopefully the goal is that by the time that my generation and Gen Zers are raising kids, we will have a better handle on that type of stuff, and our kids won't have to go to therapy. Like, listen, we're still going to screw up our kids in some way. Hopefully that screw up won't be building up on past failures. Let's start with the building blocks that our parents gave us and build a better future.